Happy New Year and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. How about that game yesterday, huh? 29 to 3, rock and roll. That was pretty awesome, wasn't it? It's you know what? I know that in the big scheme of things here, these wins really don't mean much, but it sure is nice when they win and when they win like they did yesterday. I mean, it was a great game from the moment it started till the end. It really was. It was a great way to end the season at home with a victory for the fans because we deserved it, and so did anybody who was sitting out there in that cold weather. And gotta first give a congratulations to Robert Quinn, number 94, on breaking Richard Dent's sack record from 1985, which was 17 and a half sacks. He got his 18th sack finally in the fourth quarter. You could see he was chomping at the bit all game. He got so close so many times. My son and I were just, oh my God! And then he didn't get it. But we knew he was going to get it because we really wanted to see him get it at home so the fans could show their appreciation. And I got to tell you, one thing Nagy did was good. He called a timeout right after that so the fans could celebrate with him, and so could the players. And Quinn is one of six current active players right now with over 100 sacks. So that's pretty cool. But he did talk to Richard Dent the night before. I thought Dent would be at the park, but he was not. And I guess Dent pointed out to him something that Dent set the record in 10 games. So it's still, he broke it. It don't matter. But he said it was kind of funny. Quinn was laughing. He's like, oh, yeah, he pointed that out, that he did it in 10 games. But who cares? And he said he was laughing. It's great. So I'd like to see, maybe if he could get a couple more, maybe he can get 20. We'll see what happens next week for the Vikings, but it's really cool, Quinn. Right on. I mean, he's played his heart out this year throughout all the good and the bad. Let's face it, he really did. He had a rough last year, his first year. He got criticized big time, but he showed up this year. And Quinn, Robert, just keep showing up next year because you're going to have Mac back, and that means you can just continue to pile up the sacks, and maybe you'll set another record next season, right? That'd be really cool. But that was really one heck of a game. So let's kind of talk about it a little bit, huh? So New York, this is the best part. New York gets the ball. Glennon gets the ball up first. They get it. And boom, first play, number 99, our defensive lineman, T. Gibson, gets a strip sack, turnover. The Bears get the ball around their 10-yard line. And the offense comes out to the field, and they hand the ball off to Montgomery. Touchdown! 7-zip. That was great. And Gibson, number 99, that was the first of his 2 sacks that day. He had 2 sacks that day. I was just like, oh my God. I mean, it was literally, there was 1 minute into the game. My son and his wife were just walking in the door when it happened. I'm like, oh my God. It was great. It was really, really, really cool. And then New York gets the ball back after we score the 7 points. We kick off to them. They get the ball back, and then it gets intercepted by our cornerback, number 38, T. Gibson Sr. We do have 2 Gibsons on the team, but he's a cornerback, and he's in the back. And he got a touchdown. He got an interception, which I was talking about interceptions on Friday, if you remember. New York had a lot more than we did, so we managed to get 2 in this game, so that was really nice. And so the Bears get the ball, the offense gets the ball again. Bang, boom, number 11, Mr. Mooney, our receiver, gets a touchdown, 14-0. I mean, it was like, I think that all happened in the first quarter. It was great. It was so much fun. I mean, again, we're what? 6-10. So it's nothing to be, it's not gonna save the season, but it sure makes it fun, doesn't it? Watching them win again and playing the way they did. They're just really, I mean, these guys are balling. They have been coming out and playing the last couple games. And then right before the half, um, we punt the ball and we back them up on what they were on their 2 yard line because of these two idiots on the Giants. Both looked at the ball and neither one of them did anything, and then they had to touch it, and they got it on the so Minnesota was on their 2 yard line, and our defense came out almost. They were trying for a safety from the moment they got out, and it took them a few snaps, but number 90, Blackson, one of our defensive linemen, got a safety, and we got what is the safety again? I forget the thing what they say, but anyways, it was a safety, so we get 2 points for that. Now the score is 19-3 because we had a field goal added in there. So going into half, the Bears was 19-3. I mean, a safety, they haven't had a safety since last year. They didn't have any up until this year. So that was awesome. I mean, we were just running around up and down. So it was a really good day yesterday all the way around for the defense and the offense. The offense scored 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals, and then we got a safety from the defense. So that was pretty awesome, wasn't it? It really was. And, these guys are just flying all over the place. Hicks was back in, and, I can start to see this defense gelling just a little bit better and better. And some of these second stringers have kind of really showed up, and so that helps going into next season because let's face it, we got one more game and we're not going anywhere, but if you can go out on a high note like we are right now, that really helps the guys when they come in, the ones that come back next season. And let's face it, we're gonna have a new coaching staff, that's for sure. I don't know how much the Bears are gonna clean house, but we know a week from today we should be hearing Nagy is gone and goodbye. So let's just talk a little stats here. It shows how when the Bears beat the other team in most categories, they win the game. What a thought. So for total yards, we beat them. We had 249 yards. It's not huge. It's not a lot. But we didn't need any more because we won 29-3. So the Bears had 249 yards, total yards, and New York had 151. Penalties, the Bears did what I asked. They kept it 5. They had 5 penalties for 35 yards, and that's nothing. And I told you, that's the thing they got to work on, and they won that category. They won the turnover category because they forced New York to have 4 turnovers. We had 2 turnovers. And the turnovers that came from Dalton through an interception, which really ended up not turning out to be anything. And then at the end of the game, that stupid Wildcat play, which at that point I didn't care because we were winning 29-3, or whatever it was at that point. It was 29-3. And they do the Wildcat with David Montgomery, our running back, throwing the ball, and he throws an interception. And they were all giving him a lot of crap, I guess, in the locker room after the game, but he really wanted that one. I guess they've been practicing that one, but it didn't really matter at that point. Had it mattered, I would have been really pissed because I don't like the Wildcat. I think this is the NFL. I don't like it. This is a big boy sport, not college. So keep the Wildcat in college. But that's where the Bears' 2 interceptions come from. This next stat is incredible. We had 162 yards passing. Not a lot, but enough for Dalton. But New York had -10. Yeah, you heard me. -10 yards passing. Is that awesome or what? That just shows you, man. Well, we all know Glennon sucks, right? First of all, because we got stuck with him for 1 year, and he's awful. And he just proved it with -10 yards. But the only category, so we basically beat New York in every category except for rushing, which was a little disappointing. And I would have liked to see some more rushing. I would have liked to see David Montgomery get some more yards, even Herbert, but it didn't matter. But they rushed for 161 yards, which was a lot. It didn't seem like it to me when I read that stat, but that's what it said. And the Bears had only 87 yards rushing. But again, we won the game. We beat them in time of possession, only by a minute, but we still beat them in time of possession, which is huge. So the Bears beat them in every category. But again, it's the New York Giants, and they are 11-4. I mean, excuse me, 4-11. So, they're no great shakes, but you know what? We'll take it. I'll take it. I don't care. At this point, we just needed something, right? We needed something good. The defense, again, as I was saying, had one hell of a game. They had 4 sacks. Obviously, Quinn, number 1, he had 1 sack. Number 99, Gibson, had 2 sacks. Boy, this guy's really starting to show. He is really coming into himself. I'm really liking this guy a lot. And then number 90, Blackson, got 1. So this defensive line, I just think if Mack had not gone down, oh man, we would have a lot more sacks. So what did we have going into this game? Shucks, I can't remember. Was it... I should have looked. I think it was 44 when we went into the game, and which would make it 48 now. So we'll see. I'll look that up for next week's show to see where we're at and see if we're close. I don't know who's leading the league. I know at one point the Bears were leading the league in sacks when Mack was still playing. When Mack went down, the sacks started going down because they were double covering Quinn. So, but that guy, he was not going to be denied yesterday. A couple of those guys were not going to be denied. And they had 2 strip sacks, which was awesome. And I just love it. I just love the passion they had. And they were playing their hearts out yesterday. And they did the week before in Seattle, too. And the Bears defense also had 2 interceptions. One by number 26, Bush, and then number 38, T. Gibson Sr., both cornerbacks, both in the backfield. They're defensive backs. Bush, I think, is a safety, but it doesn't matter. They both got an interception, and it was great because that is something we haven't seen a lot of this year because I think we only had, 6 or 7 going into that game. So, and New York had over 11 at least. So, and they only got, they got 2 on us, but that last one, I don't even count that one because that was a stupid ass play. But but the team just came out and played. Everybody did their part yesterday on the field. Penalties were down, They were scoring points when they had the ball. The defense was rocking it. So it was great. Our special teams did a great job. We got field goals when we had the opportunity. So everything was going right. It helps to play a crappy team for everything, this season. That seems to have been them. But there were some games we all know that the Bears should have won this year. We all know that, and we know the games. They were in more games than their record really shows, and we know that. They could have beaten Pittsburgh. They could have beaten the Ravens, and there was another one they should have won, but I don't know which one it was, but it's like they just should have. So, but shoulda, woulda, coulda, it's over. But I do like what I saw from the team because it helps going into your next season, because you got these guys coming back, as I said before. So you want to go out on a high if you can when you're having a bad season. Dalton, I know everybody wanted Foles to play, and I certainly understand why people thought it should have been Foles because he won that game, came back and won that game last week. And so I get it, but Nagy loves Dalton. And I also think my daughter-in-law brought this up. She just started watching football when she met my son, which was just 3 years ago. And now, I got to tell you what, she's learning the game. Very impressed because we were talking about, and one of the reasons we felt that maybe Nagy is putting Dalton in is because Dalton only had a 1 year contract with us. Foles still has another year on his contract, so Foles will probably be back as the backup to Fields. And Dalton, by putting him in, the other teams get to see what he's got, and maybe somebody will pick him up in the offseason to be their backup. So I think that's another reason Nagy put him in there, to give him a chance to show other teams what he's got still. And he did okay. He did what he was supposed to do, right? And he used 6 different receivers yesterday. He threw the ball to many different people. And Mr. Mooney was leading the way with 69 yards and a touchdown. David Montgomery had a good day as well. He had 64 yards rushing and 17 yards passing with 2 touchdowns scored. So that wasn't bad, right? Everybody, they're not high numbers for anybody, but who cares, because they spread it around. Everybody did it. Tight ends were in there catching, and it was just a good day all the way around. I kind of hoped it would have been snowing during the game, but it stopped. But I could tell it was really cold, because when you saw Nagy at the press conference after the game, his nose was beet red, and his cheeks right here were beet red, because he had the hat right here, everything. So you could tell it was really cold, and so that was funny, but a great game. And you know what? I'm not even going to say anything bad about Nagy today, which I think is the first time this season that I haven't been gone on a Nagy rant. So I'm not going to do it, because, let's face it, he's gone anyways. And let's just be positive and enjoy the win, right? Enjoy the win. Next week is our last game. It's against the Vikings in Minnesota. So win or lose, I want the Bears to be in that game like they were the last 2 weeks. It would really be nice to go out on a high note. Minnesota got creamed last night by Green Bay. You know what, fans? It's looking like Green Bay could be going to the Super Bowl, and that just makes me sick to my stomach. I've got my nephew and my brother-in-law are huge Packer fans, and I'm sorry, guys, but I'm a Bears fan. You can't like Green Bay. But they just creamed Minnesota last night. But to be honest with you, Minnesota didn't have their starting quarterback, and the quarterback was in there. I mean, I'm not an expert on football, but I certainly know quite a bit about it, and players that have been playing and come out, and I have never heard of that quarterback ever, and I can see why, because he was really bad. Really, really bad. But so next week we'll see what happens. It was just a great game. I've been hearing a lot of things. The Bears are doing a lot of investigating into who to hire, what to do. My son were talking yesterday, and I had mentioned Jim Harbaugh before, who was in the NFL. He was the 49ers coach and went to the Super Bowl once with them. He lost to his brother, but he was also brought two college programs back. And Stafford was the last one he was at before he went to the NFL, and he brought them back. And now he's in Michigan, the coach there, and he finally beat Ohio State this year, but got creamed in the bowl game, so they're not going any farther. But my son and I were talking about maybe having him. My son, in the beginning of the year when I mentioned him, didn't like the idea, but now he's like, you know what? He was in the NFL. He's done this, and that, and their players love him. And he did play for the Bears, not for a super long time, but the Bears drafted him. And he ended up with Indy for most of his career. But I don't know. I would not have a problem with Jim Harbaugh, because he's already been a head coach in the NFL. And my son and I both agree on this. We don't want a coach that has not been a head coach yet coaching the Bears next year. I know that all these young guys come out, you want to this and that, and some of them have been good, but some of them, it's more bad than good who start out. I don't want them to get their chops wet on us, because it didn't work with Nagy. He hadn't been a head coach, and they threw him in, and he just couldn't do it. He's a good motivator. There's no doubt about that. I will give him that credit. But he can't manage a game or call a game. So, we'll see what the Bears do. I don't know. I kind of like the Jim Harbaugh thing, but I don't know if he'll come. I don't know if he'll. I can guarantee he has a clause in his contract with Minnesota, University of Michigan, that if certain NFL teams come calling, and I bet Bears are one of them, he can get out of his contract. So I would not be unhappy with him because he has been in the NFL, and he made. What that guy? I can't think of his name. The tall guy who kneeled and caused all that trouble. He kind of made him look good, and he's not really a good quarterback because that's not why he's in the league. It's the reason he's not in the league. It's not, they say it's because he did all that kneeling and caused all that trouble, but he wasn't a good quarterback, people. And for the life of me, I cannot remember his name. I know you guys. You know me. It's Pickled, and I don't know how long I was in Tennessee, and we partied a lot. So very pickled. I gotta just rejuvenate the brain cells and get them back. So Kaepernick, that's his name, Kaepernick. So he was the one. But so my point was Jim McMahon kind of made him look good, and he's really not. So because let me tell you, people, again, if he were a really good quarterback, he'd be playing on a team. They wouldn't worry about the kneeling shit. He just wasn't that good. Okay, so let's just leave it at that. So I promised a song if we won, our victory song, and I'm gonna sing it. It's not really that great. I tried. I told you, pickled. My brain is pickled right now from being in Tennessee with my sister's family and my sister in Nashville. So we had a blast, though. And so let's see what I can do here for the Bears' victory song. Because, I know you all want to hear it. I know you want me to sing. I know it. So why not? Bear down, Chicago Bears. You gave us a victory yesterday. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Even with Nagy, we won a game. We'll never forget the way you thrilled us with your TD sacks and safety. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Now let's bring home the crown next season with Fields and the gang, because you're the pride and joy of Illinois and Vegas. Chicago Bears, bear down. Thank you. Drop microphone. I crack myself up, don't I? And I hope I made you laugh, because that was really bad, and it's supposed to make you laugh. So there you go. There's my victory song for the Bears if they won. And if they win again, I'll sing another one next week. But it was a great game. There's some real positives to look forward to in the off season and to work on next season. I hope we can bring back as many of the defensive guys as we can. I have not looked on. I'm gonna have to do that this week to see who we are gonna possibly lose, because this defense is just looking really good. It got better and better and better as the season went on, even with the injuries and the COVID and all that bullshit. And the other thing is, I pray that they bring back Hicks, number 96. His contract's up. He's been here since 2012, I think, and he's 32. So he's not going to get a lot of money because he's been out hurt, but he makes a huge difference when he's in there. You can just see it. The guys love him. He loves Bears, and he has said many times he wants to retire as a Chicago Bear. So Bears, please, George. So, and that's the other thing. After next week's game, and they start and they make their selections, they hire their coach. I am going to, of course, send off a letter to my close friend George McCaskey. If you watch my show, you know that those 3 letters, those 3 things up there hanging, are responses he hand wrote to me after I wrote him. I know. So we're a little tight. And remember, I've talked to him on the phone. Gave me his phone number. I know. So, great win. Lots of fun. I'm sure everybody had fun. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. We're in a new year, 2022. It sounds good, so let's get in a better place. Let's get this stupid virus behind us. It's worse right now, I know, but whatever, I'm so over it. And let's just have a good 2022. It sounds good, doesn't it? 2022. And let's hope the Bears turn it around. I hope everyone who watches me finds happiness and has plenty of joy and gives and turns around and spreads kindness around. Because that means a lot to me, to be kind to each other. Stop hate. Start love. And I love the fact that you guys watch me. I know it's been a very tough year. I've said many times my viewership has gone down, and I'm pretty sure it has nothing to do with me. Please. Who wouldn't want to watch a woman's face, or dad's face on a woman's body every week? I mean, come on, right? So, but you know what? People got tired of hearing about the Bears because they were so bad and everything was going on. So, but we made it. We got one more game, and my faithful viewers, I love you guys. I do. I just hope you have the best 2022. I'm hoping that for me too. So I love you guys. Be kind to someone. Smile at someone. Help them out if needed. And then I'll see you on Friday for my last pre-game show for the Minnesota game. And I love you. And as always, oh, wait a minute. I forgot to say, I'm back home. Can you tell on my set? I'm back home. Much better set than when in the Nashville in my sister's house, right? I know. But anyways, as always, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. Bye-bye.